Hello, everyone, and I hope you've had a great week. I have really had a good time this week, chilling out and just taking things easy, just as life should be, one day at a time. I hope you've been doing the same as well. So thanks once again for making our time to join us. This is session 3 of the Story Unmasked Diabetes Project, and my name is Dayibara Orike for those that join us for the first time. And this event is, the aim of this event is to help people see and work their way out of diabetes, because it's actually a possibility. And I believe that you joining us today, would impact your life positively. And if you're here for someone else as well, you'll be able to gain knowledge that you can use to help people, any day, anytime with the same diabetes or maybe other health challenges, because you might get some other knowledge that could help as well. But the aim of this one is to help people come out of diabetes. And once again, you're welcome. This is session 3, and it's been having a good time all this while. I'd like to really appreciate as many that have sent in their feedbacks. It's been wonderful. The questions that have been asked, the responses we've gotten from people, and that's what we're working on, and that's why we're here. I'm not here alone. I'm here with Dr. Adaeze, and she's going to be coming on to speak at some point, very soon, not so long from now anyway. So get ready for that. I'm sure she's got a lot for us this weekend as well, as usual. Now, why are we doing this? Like I said, it's to impact people, to empower people to be able to come out of this. And I was diabetic. I'll put it that way because I'm no longer one. And by God's help in my life, I've been able to work my way out of this. I was diabetic for over 10 years until the change came. And seeing that it's a possibility, my passion is to see other people come out, to empower people to come out of it, and to make them know that it's real, it's possible. Now, what happened? How did I get in and how did I get out? I was first diagnosed when I was pregnant with my daughter, my first daughter, and that was in 2007. And going through that was not funny at all. Having gestational diabetes, as they called it then, and I thought it was just going to be like just then and going off. But after having the baby, I was asked to still continue on medication, and it had just been like that from, taking tablets, and from one tablet to the other, it just has been increasing and increasing, the dosage, but the actual has not been. Just a moment, I will review.
Maybe mute all.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Just a minute, please. I think we're fine now. Okay. Right. Okay, so the tablets were only helping to manage, as they will call it, but not to kick it off completely. But I don't know if anyone really wants to live on medication for the rest of their life, but definitely not me. And I was so glad I was able to see how we could come out of it. And I'm hoping, I'm believing that within the next 3 months, for those that are diabetic or people that are diabetic, for the next 3 months, you'll be able to share a success story as well. No matter how small, but we take baby steps to get to where we're going to. I had to take some drastic steps to get to where I'm today. And I'm hoping that people will take actions as well, because coming here, hearing these things and not taking actions is as good as you just staying at home and not coming at all. So hopefully this is going to help a couple of people. Now, before I proceed, I would like to mention this, that we'll be taking some pictures at some point. So if you're not okay with that, feel free to leave your cameras on, but we'll really love to see some faces, please. So we really appreciate it if you can put your cameras on, so we could put a face to the name. And when it's time for picture, we'll let you know and all that, and you could just like switch off your cameras. That's fine by us. But it's just loving to see faces and know that we're speaking to real people as well, and that you're there, getting what we're saying. So we know we're not just here wasting time. Now, before I hand over to Dr. Adaeze, I would just like to share a few things I did before I got to where I am now. Like I said in previous sessions, my first step out of this was my encounter with Dr. Adaeze, a meeting I had with her just briefly, at her home, and she told me a couple of things that really got me going. And that comes back again to action. If I had heard those things and I just gone back and continued my life the way it was, nothing would have changed and I would have still been where I used to be. But no, I didn't do that. And one important thing we need to know is, why do we want to get out of this thing called diabetes? Why do we want to see people come out of it? Why do we want to help people out of it? Why? That why is what's going to drive your actions. If there's no strong why, you're going to remain where you are forever. And I'm hoping that's not what's going to be happening. So why did I want to do this? Because of my background, because I lost my mom early, because I don't want other people to lose, loved ones and lose their lives early as well. So I thought, look, something has to be done. And that's my why. So whatever I did after that, whenever I want to feel discouraged, I remember my why and I'm like, no going back, we're going forward. If this is what it's going to take, I'm diving into it. And remember, I said by the help of God, because I did not just do it myself. I believe strongly in God and he has helped me through life. And I kept on doing, and I'll keep on doing that. Believing in him has helped me. So I took that step. I had my action plan, and then I ran with it. What are a few things I did? I may not be able to share all of it, but because of the sessions, future sessions, I'm able to say some more. But just for today, what happened was, first, I knew that carbohydrates were a problem to me, a big problem, a very big problem to me. And I'm like, if this is going to be the issue, then we need to go out of the way. At least till I get things normalized. So I ran out of carbohydrates, just like, look, you know what, bread. Now, what are these carbs? I really love rice. I don't mind eating rice every day of the week, different types, different ways, and I love cooking. So cooking is not an issue for me. It's a hobby. I can cook from morning till night and I don't get tired. So it's a hobby. So, but when I saw that rice would be an issue, I'm like, okay, I need to leave that. So even when I cook for others, I cook for my family, I was not taking white rice. I was not taking white at all. So I did that for, call it about four weeks or there, about 4 to 6 weeks, if not more. I'm not really sure of the timing now, but just call it 4 weeks. I removed rice out of my diet completely. I removed white bread. I love white bread. For breakfast, I could have 4 slices of toast, white bread, and eggs. That would have been a lovely breakfast for me. Tell me about it. And I eat my noodles, as well, and all those things. But the white rice, the bread, those were big ones for me to give up. Those were really, really sacrificial. It was a really, really huge step I had to take. But I had a reason why I had to take that step. And remember your why, very important. Okay, so I left rice, left white bread. I also left brown bread. Please, I would like us to do an experiment, but I will take that feedback when we get back. I'll just give us 5 minutes to do that in between. If you have bread in your house, I'll need you to get a pack of bread and we're going to look at the back. I need to show you something there that really puts me off. Maybe that will help somebody today. I don't know. So I left bread, white bread, brown bread, green bread, whatever bread, I ran away. It's called bread, I'm not there. It's called rice, I am not there. Unavailable, don't even leave a message on that line. That was me. And I was really serious about it. And then Doc also spoke about taking walks, few minutes exercise, 10 minutes, 20 minutes here and there. And so I started with that. I walked to school, dropped the kids off at school. I walked back, that's something. Later, I improved. I went to jogging around and you can see me panting sometimes. I'm like, oh no, this is not good at all. But when I think about my why, I wake up in the morning, that's me off, And then sometimes I'll see Doc posting on Facebook how she enjoyed her work. I'm like, are you serious? What am I doing here? I need to work a bit more. So that motivated me as well. So I did a few walks here and there, even if it's 20 minutes, just go out for fresh air, just enjoy yourself, enjoy nature. I just said I'm going to enjoy nature, and I didn't see it as a body, but I saw it as a pathway to where I wanted to get to. I always look at my why. I look at I'm like, look at these children, these kids. If I don't take care of things, what's going to happen to them? I didn't want that. So that was it. So if I took those things off, What was I eating? I switched over. Breakfast, I could have scrambled eggs and sausage, like these breakfast sausages. And the carbs are, you just be fine. Scrambled eggs, or I could have scrambled eggs, avocado on the side. And then, maybe a cup of tea, or sometimes I just love water. I prefer water to tea. Everybody's not the same. I don't pull up the tea, coffee, and all that. But I stayed away completely from juice. Juice, no, I was not going there. Whether natural juice or whatever, I'm like, until I know myself, I'm not going to do any of those things anymore. It was a drastic step I took. No wonder, can see where I'm at. So what happened is I stopped juice, I stopped all those drinks. I was sticking to water. Sometimes a cup of tea here and there was fine for me. And then sometimes I could take green tea, sometimes, but not all the time. My main drink was water, and I drank a lot of water. I realized that the water helps flush things out as well. So it was really refreshing for me, and that was what I did. Till now, I've not got my big bottle here, but this is I still drink like as if the water is going to finish from the tap. I just drink, and it has helped me a lot. So I stick to my sausages. Then sometimes I could take, burger, the beef itself, not the bread. The beef itself and veggies on the side, that could be my dinner. And you eat it and you know that you're fine. You could make your salads. What I was doing, I made my salads, and then I could put my chicken in it if that's what I wanted, or eggs if that's what I wanted. But I just had that and I was full. I think it's all up here in the mind. If you can condition your mind, you're going to overcome a lot of things, not just this aspect. So these were a few things I did. And then for the bread aspect, the bread, why I discovered this, we need to know the difference between the carbs content and the fiber content in the bread. So what you need is the fiber, not really the carbs per se. So what you need is the fiber, not the carbs. You need just a little bit of the carbs, but the fiber is really what helps you. Another thing I did was I ran away from snacking. I don't snack in between that much, no. That initial period, no. I just stick to my meals. So I'm having 2 meals or 3 meals. I just stick to that, and that was it. And then if I must snack, I could have maybe carrots because I love crunchy stuff. I could have carrots. I could have nuts, sometimes. But my own nuts, I'm a bit restricted. I just take I only like the brown nuts, not all the other ones. But all the other ones are lots and lots. They've got lots of healthy nutrients in them, as I've been told. Just that the flavor, I couldn't just get around eating them. But I was just okay with my groundnuts, and I was okay with my carrots, just something crunchy to snack on. So I wasn't really into in-between snacks. I downloaded some apps to help me, remind me I needed to do my walks, or maybe like I needed to drink water, or that told me the amount of carbs per food I eat. That also helps me to keep an eye on things. So these were just a few things I was doing. And like I said, in subsequent sessions, we'll talk about some other things I did with my blood monitor machine and things like that. So because I love my meat and fish, so I took more of meat and fish. Even if I'm going to have fish and chips, carbs already, potato is, carbs already. So I just take little of the chips and more of the fish. That was what I was doing. So I take more of the veggies, more of the, proteins than the carbs. I just try to reduce it as much as possible. You're very, very safe with eggs. You're very safe with eggs. Very, very safe with eggs. And those breakfast sausages. Another thing I was doing was my green smoothie. I take my green smoothie. Sometimes I take that as breakfast. So I could just make my smoothie. Maybe, what I was putting in it are things I like. So just look for things you like among the good stuff. I love my cucumbers. I put my spinach, I put my kale. I do this till now. Spinach, kale, cucumbers, lettuce, romaine hearts, celery, just a combination of those things. Now I've mentioned 6. So sometimes I make 4 out of 6 and add a banana to it, half a banana to it. So it's not also too sweet. Just have a banana, and the vegetables will swallow up the sweetness of the banana. That way the sugars are not too affected. So these were a few things I started doing. So I'm sure Doc has a lot to tell us today. So before I hand over to Doc, please, if you don't mind, if you've got a pack of bread at home, could you just bring it and I'll tell you what to check on the bread. I'm going to grab mine in a few minutes. Just a minute, please. Right, so are we all ready? If you've got a white bread, if you look at the back and it says carbohydrates, per slice of carbohydrate, I've got this one. So per slice of carbohydrates, it says 22 grams for one slice of the white bread. That's the carbohydrate content, of which sugar is 1.4 grams, and fiber is just 1.1 gram. But imagine if the reverse was the case, you do yourself a whole lot of good. I'm sorry I couldn't get around to Sainsbury's where I get the high-low bread. I would have told you the content of that, and then you can see it for yourself. But when I look at this, you can see, I tell you just, oh, it's just a slice of bread. But you're taking 22 grams of carbs into your system, just the bread. You're not talking about other things you're eating for breakfast, just the bread, just one slice. So now imagine if I was taking 4 of these, because that was my normal thing. 88 grams of carb. Where will my sugar be? Over the roof? No way. So fiber is 1.1 grams. So what you should be looking out for is the fiber content. That should be higher than your carbs, your carbohydrate content, please. I hope this helps someone because it's really helped my life. 22 grams of sugar is too much. Now, that's why. Now, this is called whole meal, is it? Whole meal Hovis. Let's see what's happening here. Even the whole meal Hovis carbs is giving you 15.1 grams of sugar. Whole meal. And it's meant to be okay, they're one of the best, isn't it? That's good. And fiber of it is 2.7 grams. So the difference is that the fiber here is higher than what you get from the white bread. However, the carb content is still high. Per slice of this brown bread gives you 15.1 grams of sugar, of carbohydrates. And you don't need that in your body. I think that's quite a lot. So please, if you didn't get anything, at least this bread should be something looked into. Because eat it as in sparingly, if I'll put it that way. You know, but if you're really, really desperate to run out of this thing called diabetes, I think for some weeks, run away from it. And there are a few other things that will come up after now in subsequent sessions, or, you know, I would like to still share with us just a few tips, a few things I did. I'm just trying to share personally what I did and what worked. And I believe it's going to work for people if they try it. It may be difficult, but it's worth your life. At this point, I don't know if anyone wants a cup of tea, coffee, quickly, before we hand over to Doc. Maybe 1-2 minutes, you want to grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee, get yourself comfortable. And Doc will be taking us in the next session. Just briefly, this 24. So just 1 minute, let's see, 2:25, we'll hand over to Doc to take us from there. So I hope that has been helpful. I really, really hope so. And I hope some people will take actions and you also advise other people. So it's not even just for being diabetic per se, but even an average human being. I think just as per healthy lifestyle kind of things, you know, eating so much of this, it's not great. It's not great at all. It's not great. Even if our organs are okay, let's not force the organs to start misbehaving as well. Right. Okay. So I can see comment. Let's see what's it. Oh, thank you so much. All right. Thank you, Doc. Thanks so much. Thank you. Yes, that's right. I had to run away. Because what's not going to help you, need to run away from it. We just need things that will add value to our lives and not things that will shorten our lifespan. Okay, so I'm going to quickly switch over. Let's see. Yes, 4:25. Okay, so please, can we make welcome Dr. Adaeze? She's going to be helping us out. She has just been doing it over the past weeks, and she's here again to be a blessing to us. Over to you, Doc, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can I ask you to spotlight me, pin me?
That's now.
Wow. Thanks for your story. I'm never tired of hearing it, honestly, because it just tells people what is possible. If you didn't take action, maybe by now you'll be on 3 medications or 4 medications for diabetes, because it's just endless. And that's what we find. Initially, we start with 1 medication, 1 tablet, but with time, we know it's not going to get better. So we add a second one and a third one, and even go on to insulin. So it's powerful what you've done to be able to just cause the diabetes to take to its heels and run away. So I love hearing your story. I want to appreciate you once again for putting up this meeting. Not only have you worked on yourself, now you want to help other people. You're going out and telling your story. I really find that really inspiring. So thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me onto your program, because this is really your program. You've done great. So I appreciate you so much. Yeah, so I'll share my screen. And then we'll talk about, make me host so I can share my screen. And then we'll talk about this week. I don't know if people is this your first time, or have you been with us in the other sessions? Could you type into the chat? Let me know. Were you here last week? This is the 3rd meeting we're having. So have you been in the other meetings? Please type in the chat, people. Let me know who was here last week. Were you here last week or last 2 weeks? And while I wait for that, I still can't share Dayibara. Can you check? Okay, right. I should be able to share now. Right.
Before I forget, please, can we please feel free to put questions in the chat box, and we're going to attend to it at the end of Doc's session. Please put your questions either directly to me or to Doc herself or on the general chat. Thank you.
Okay. Can I check that you're seeing my screen? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's fine. Right. So this is week 3. It's been an awesome time just talking about things and hearing people's feedback. People have been feeding back. They've really been enjoying the sessions. So my name is Dr. Adaeze Ifezulike. If you're joining us newly, I'm a GP here in Aberdeen. I'm also a lifestyle medicine physician. That means I'm trained to help people use their lifestyles to get on top of their illnesses, things like diabetes, obesity, and so on. So when some years back, Dayibara came to me and she said, I've got diabetes, I've had it for years, I'm really fed up, I don't want to continue medication, what should I do? It was really a pleasure to speak to her, and we talked about what she could try, and she went out and did it. I just love that she took everything on board and she went out, she empowered herself, she read about things, she watched videos, she just did everything she needed to do. And today she can declare that she's free from diabetes. That's amazing. So that's it. We're trying to tell people that lifestyle is the key. Lifestyle is the key. So if you're joining us newly, let me make this full screen. Here we go. Right. So far, we've talked about insulin. We've said that insulin is our storage hormone. It's a hormone that hormones are chemical messengers. Hormones are just simply chemical messengers that tell our bodies what to do. So when we secrete insulin, it says to our bodies, you have to store food, you have to make fat, okay? So when people are obese, when people are diabetic, they already have too much insulin in their system, okay? And all this insulin makes them to keep storing food. So we've also talked about carbohydrates and sugars. We said they're the food types that really increase insulin in the system. And we'll try to explain that diabetes is an overflow problem. There's just too much sugar in the system. There's just too much. you know. So, and we said that the blood sugar is a symptom, it's not the cause of the problem. So when people focus on, I've got to reduce my blood sugar, I've got to reduce my blood sugar, they're missing the problem. You understand? Is the blood sugar is just a symptom. It's just saying, hey, there's a problem. You know, the underlying problem is that you have too much insulin in your system. Okay, to the extent that your body is now actually resisting the insulin, you now have what we call insulin resistance. And we touched briefly on fasting. We said, okay, there's too much sugar in the system, there's so much insulin. What can we do? And we mentioned that fasting is one of the ways we can do that, because fasting gives the body a chance to mop up all these extras, to mop up all this excess sugar. If you come into a house and the tap has been on and the house is flooded with water, you know, there's water all over the place, the tap is still on, are you going to start mopping the floor? You know, what would you do first? Will you go and start mopping the floor? Or are you going to go to the tap and turn it off? So that's what we're teaching here, that your tablets, the medications we give you, yes, they are mopping the floor. Okay, they're trying to reduce the blood sugar. But the more important thing is to turn off the tap, to engage in a regular habit of fasting, because that's the turning off the tap so that your body can mop up all this extra sugar. Okay, so today I want to tell us about this guy, really inspiring story of this Scottish man. And please take down his name and you can read up the story online. A man called Angus Barbieri. He was a Scottish man and he was so overweight. He was really huge. So the doctor said, we want you to fast. Let's see if we can, you know, help you. We'll monitor you, we'll get you to fast for, I think it was just meant to be a week, something like that. But this guy started this fast and he felt so well that he just carried on fasting. And they said to him, hey, you've got to stop, you know, because it wasn't meant to be a long fast. But he felt so well, you know, because the fasting allowed his body to mop up extras, to tap into his fat stores, you know. So he carried on and he fasted for 382 days. That is the longest known fast in history. And the reason I'm sharing it here is to let you know that missing food for a few days is not as scary as it sounds. You know, a Scottish man did that for 382 days. But when you fast, it helps you to take control of your cravings. It helps you to control your weight. So lots of benefits to fasting. And today I really want to focus on what you eat when you fast and when you break your fast. And Dayibara has already given us lots of tips. In fact, she's covered that, you know, she's done so well in sharing her experience and helping to empower other people. So fasting broadly, we divide it into two main types. You have your intermittent fasting, which is often limited to 24 hours. So any fast within 24 hours will come under that. We encourage you to start slow and go easy. Okay, there are lots of names. You might hear things like 5-2 fasting, 16-8 fasting, you know, also, but I like to keep it simple. If you're doing a fast that is just limited to one day, in my mind, that is intermittent fasting. But if you're doing a longer fast, more than 24 hours, then you're getting into the arena of extended fasting. Okay, and there are two sort of popular ones I often teach people. One is the work week fast. During the week, a lot of people are really busy. You might be a busy professional here. You might find that it's actually easiest for you to fast during your week. So on Monday to Friday, can I check that we're seeing the screen, Dayibara?
Yes, we are.
Excellent. Okay. Please, everyone, please mute yourself so we don't have sounds coming through, because we're recording this for other people to listen to. So if you're busy during the week, you might find that that's the best time for you to fast. You start on Monday and you end your fast. So your last meal is Sunday night and you end your fast on Friday evening. And during the week, you're busy, you just get about with your normal work. So that's the work week fast, okay? But other people might find that a weekend fast works better for them. Maybe during the weekend, they're busy, you know, so their last meal is Friday night and they don't eat again till Monday morning. So that's a weekend fast. So it might sound so scary, but that's why I told us about Angus Barbieri, a man, a Scottish man. He did that for 382 days and he was fine. you know, because when you look at your body, your fatty areas are actually stores of energy. Yeah, but as long as you're eating, the body can't tap into those stores of energy. That's why it stays on. As long as you're eating, your fat stores stay on. But the moment you stop eating, the body gets the signal that, oh, no food is coming in. So we've got to burn body fat. We've got to tap into what we already have. That's what the body fats are there for. Okay, so that's why when you're fasting, you don't die because you have energy. And we all already fast when we sleep overnight. When you're sleeping at night, you're not eating, remember? So the body is tapping into its energy stores when you're sleeping. But the key thing here, if you're diabetic, the key thing here is to be able to measure your sugars. Please don't start any fast unless you have a glucometer. You know what I mean? A machine. And in UK, you can get that free from your nurse. If you go to the diabetic nurse, they will give you a glucometer if you're diabetic, because you need to know what is happening with your sugars when you're fasting, okay? The other key thing is to keep hydrated. Like Dayibara said, she was always drinking. You've got to drink when you're fasting. I personally don't support dry fast. You know, people who fast and they don't drink water at all. I don't support that sort of fasting. It may work for some people, that's fine, but I don't teach that. Okay, so let's look at what you eat when you break your fast. There's some background noise. Someone is unmuted. Please mute yourself.
Please.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. So the three main food types are fats, protein, and carbohydrates. Okay. This is all simple stuff. I'm sure you know that already. So really, I just want to emphasize that these different food types have a different impact on insulin. So insulin is that storage hormone we've been talking about, okay? So if a food type stimulates more insulin, then it's best to reduce or avoid that food type. And Dayibara has already given us some clues. She's talked about white bread and so on, okay? Because if you're eating, you've done your fast and you break your fast with a food that stimulates so much insulin, you might be undoing the good you have done by your fasting. So let's look at fats. There are lots of myths around fats. I'm sure we've all heard it. People will say, oh, you're eating too much fat, that's why you're fat. But that's not the case, you know, that's not true. And we covered that in one of the sessions. We explained how to fatten how to fatten cows, for example, by giving them carbohydrates. You don't fatten cows by giving them fatty food. You fatten them by giving them carbohydrates. You don't fatten the liver of geese. We talked about that last week, by giving the geese fats. No, they actually force feed them carbohydrates to fatten them. So it's not the fats that fatten, okay? And I love what Dayibara said. She said sometimes her breakfast is, what did you say again? Some eggs and some sausage, and that's it, you know? So we've heard that fats cause heart attacks. They clog up the vessels of the heart. That was what we taught for many years, but now we know that's not the case. Okay, we now know that that's not the case. We now know that fats actually protect the heart. They make us feel full and they barely stimulate insulin. Did you get that? So if you've done your fast and you break it with fats, you know, healthy fats, you're not going to raise your insulin levels. And we said if you're diabetic, you already have too much insulin in the system. Okay, so fats help us to absorb minerals. We need fat to protect our nerves. The nerves in our bodies, the lining of the nerves are fatty tissues, so they're actually useful for that. And fats make us to feel full. That means we will snack, we will not need to snack, you know, and you can actually begin to lose weight. So these are your healthy fats. So when we're saying fats, it's not all fats that are healthy, okay? So natural fats found in pork, bacon, coconut oil, butter, cream, they're healthy for us in moderation. Milk and meat from grass-fed cows, we say grass-fed, it's got to be grass-fed cows, they're healthy fats and can be taken, okay? But cows that are fed carbohydrates and other rubbish food, that they don't make healthy meat from those sort of cows, okay? But if cows are allowed to be in their natural habitat, they graze on grass, that's what they're meant to eat. You know, if you have cows that graze on grass and so on, they actually make healthy meat. So your healthy fats are your olives, your avocado. Dayibara already mentioned avocado. Things like your oily fish, your mackerels, your sardines. Ooh.
Doc, please, could you mute everyone?
Right. How do we mute again?
Vivian, could you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Vivian,
sorry.
Please,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, fine. So I think I've muted everyone. Hopefully that works. So these are your healthy fats. These are examples of what you can eat when you break your fast, because people are often like, then what do I eat if I don't eat this, you know? So it's just to, I'm not here to teach us food per se. It's just to give us some guidelines that there are healthy fats, and those are the preferred things to eat when you break your fast, because they won't push your insulin levels high. They don't increase your blood sugar. So as a diabetic, these sort of foods, you should hold them close. They're the foods that will really make an impact in your blood sugar. Okay, so I'm just having a look at the charts. Edna, this is the first meeting I'm attending. You're welcome. That's great. Nice to have you here. Bianca was with us last week. That's great. Grace, first time here. Are there more sessions? I'm sure Dayibara will cover that. Temi Tokbe says she was here last week, and so on. That's great. Great that you are seeking knowledge, and I hope this helps everyone. Right, so break your fast with a meal that contains healthy fats, as that will help you stay on track with your weight loss. Okay, so let's give examples of unhealthy fats. We've already said that fats are good. Okay, they're not bad for us. They make us feel full. They stop you from snacking, you know. However, there are some what we term unhealthy fats. They're often full of salt and they use commercially. They're fried in in unhealthy oils. So fried food like fried French fries, they're unhealthy fats. If you need to eat fries, it's best to fry it yourself. Use your own healthy oils. You will know what you're putting into it, you know. So trans fats, hydrogenated fats, they're bad news. Seed oils, canola, safflower, vegetable oils, sunflower oils, they're often highly refined. You know, seed oils should be healthy. They actually should be healthy. However, the refining process is what makes them harmful. And in the end, they often contain omega-6 fats that are harmful to health. So we have omega-3s, which are in our oily fish, you know, your mackerel, your sardine, but we have omega-6, which is often the unhealthy one found in these refined oils. So use sparingly, if at all. So I hope that gives us an idea of the sort of meals we can eat when we do break our fasts. So let's look at carbohydrates, okay? So carbohydrates, we've mentioned that a lot. They're not all bad, just like the fats. You have the healthy fats, you have the unhealthy fats. We also have the good carbohydrates and sugars, okay? So when in their natural form, carbohydrates in their natural form are full of fiber. They are great. They have vitamins, they have minerals, and some carbohydrates and proteins, and they are quite filling because of their high fiber content. Like Dayibara tried to explain to us, if your bread is full of fiber, you know, and less sugar, then that's great, okay? But the problem is a lot of the breads we have are not that way, and that's why it's a problem. So natural carbohydrates can aid weight loss and blood sugar stability. If you're diabetic, it's good to eat these natural carbohydrates. Your sugars will stay more stable. Okay, so these are some examples. Our vegetables and fruits have natural carbohydrates and sugars. Our potatoes, you know, the sweet potato, your carrots, and so on. These are all, they all have natural carbohydrates in them. So again, these are examples of things you can eat, and these are things that wouldn't harm you or worsen your diabetes. So let's go to the refined carbohydrates. That is where the problem is. And when we say cut down on your carbs, this is what we mean, okay? We don't mean that you should never ever eat any carbohydrates. We mean cut down on the refined ones. They are the worst culprit for stimulating high levels of insulin and thereby preventing fat burning. You can't burn fat if you're eating food like this. You know, you can't reduce your obesity. You can't become, you know, normal weight if you eat stuff like this, because they're going to keep your insulin levels high. And insulin says to the body, don't burn fat. You understand? You know, so eating this sort of food will promote insulin resistance, which is diabetes. So the refined processed carbohydrates, you know them, your cakes, your biscuits, you know, your bagels, your white bread, your white rice, and so on, all those sorts of things. Your, you know, we talked about donuts the other day, and we said that this sort of food, the worst kind, are actually the cheapest. They're the ones that are really cheap. You can walk into a shop and buy 6 donuts for 89p, you know, and it's 6 rubbish foods for 89, you know, no wonder it's so cheap. And they're the ones that are the most damaging to people who are diabetic. So try to avoid them or eat really sparingly. I mean, if you have a special occasion, we're not saying don't take some cakes, you know, but just be mindful that, you know, it's all about educating you and empowering you to know what these sort of foods do to your body if you're diabetic. So let's move to proteins. Proteins are the third sort of food group, okay? So your proteins are great. They're really great. They don't raise the blood sugar much, you know, they hardly stimulate insulin. So they're really good food to eat when you're breaking your fast. So things like your beans, your lentils, you know, your kidney beans, your fish, you know, we talked about your healthy fish, your oily fish, they contain proteins, your milk from grass-fed cows, your meat from grass-fed cows, you know, your eggs. Dayibara talks about eggs, and she was right with that, you know, your seeds, your nuts, your avocado, those ones, your almond nuts and so on, they have proteins as well. So these sort of meals are what you should eat when you're breaking your fast. They wouldn't undo the good work you've done. Okay, so proteins do not cause much insulin release, which is great for tackling high insulin levels. Remember, we said if you're diabetic here, type 2, you already have high insulin levels. So we want you to reduce that. The aim of this is to help you reduce that so that your body can begin to tap into its own body fats. Proteins do not raise the blood sugar much, so it's great for stabilizing blood sugar levels. Proteins stimulate the release of peptide YY, which is one of our satiety hormones. When these sort of hormones are, when you eat protein and these hormones are released, it makes you feel full. You actually feel full for a longer period. You don't feel, oh, I need to go and snack. But if you eat the refined carbohydrates, things like your cake, you're going to be hungry in the next 30 minutes. You understand? You're going to be hungry again because those sort of foods don't release satiety hormones. I mean, satiety means hormones that help us feel full. So proteins can be useful to ward off hunger and temptation to keep snacking. I've given an example of a meal you can have, you know, some fish with vegetable, always a great meal. You know, some chicken with vegetable, great meal. You can even sprinkle some nuts into it. If you're the type, I love almond nuts. I have it with almost everything. Even my oats, my breakfast oats, I like to put some nuts into it. You know, I put some nuts, I put pieces of banana into it. So I never ever use sugar. I don't even buy sugar. There's no sugar in my house. There's no need. There are natural sugars we can use to sweeten our food, you know. So those are different things to try. And this is really to give us a good idea of the things we should be eating. I'll just have a look at the chart in case there are any things I need to use. Can you use Splenda fake sugar instead of real sugar? Good question. Okay, and that always pops up. Now, the issue with using sweeteners and things is that it still makes your taste buds to appreciate sugar. It keeps your taste bud at the level where they still want things to be sugary. So they don't really solve the problem. And guess what? I know so many diabetics, so many obese people who use artificial sweeteners, and they still remain obese. So it's not solving the problem, okay? They actually stimulate you to feel hungry. So I'll prefer you don't. We encourage you not to. However, it can be a good stepping stone if you're transiting from using a lot of sugar. Yeah, you might be able to switch on to artificial sweeteners on your way to stopping sugars entirely, you see? So they can be useful as a bridge. But ideally, we want to get you to a point where you're using fruits, for example, to sweeten things. Dayibara talked about her green smoothie, and she said she would take like a half banana to blend in with the smoothie to sweeten it. That's a better way of doing it. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so the key learnings from today, we talked about the longest known fast, which was 382 days by a Scottish man, okay? And that's to just encourage us that fasting is not a scary thing. It can be done safely, and it can be as little as just shifting your breakfast. Instead of having your breakfast at 8 a.m., could you shift your breakfast to 10 a.m.? You know, that's it. You've extended your period of fast, because obviously you've been fasting from the night before. Now you've woken up in the morning. Yeah, so even adding 2 hours by extending your breakfast to 10 o'clock, you've increased your fasting period. And that period enables the body to mop up your extra sugars, because when you're diabetic, you have lots of sugar floating around in the bloodstream. That's why when you do your pinprick, the machine is saying high, high, high. You know, some people don't even get a reading because the blood sugar is so high. But during a period of fast, some of that sugar is mopped up, okay? So when we say fast, don't think you have to do 382 days. It can be as simple as missing out your breakfast. It can be as simple as missing out your lunch. You understand? Or having 1 meal a day. Some people do what we call OMAD, 1 meal a day. So you decide, okay, I'm just going to have dinner every day for the next 3 days. And that's fantastic. But remember to keep an eye on your blood sugar, okay? And carry your doctor along. Let your doctors know what you're doing. Obviously, we are just teaching and empowering. We don't know your medical history as such. So you do need to work with your own doctors. Let them know what you're doing. Take your blood sugar, jot it down, okay? Write down the numbers you're getting and show your doctor. Say, oh, I'm doing this fast. I got this figure this morning. I got it. Let them know what's happening, because they may need to start adjusting your medication. And that's what happened with Dayibara. Before she knew it, she was off her medication, you know? So fasting helps to reduce insulin levels so that the body can mop up the overflow of sugar in the system. So healthy fats, unrefined carbohydrates, and proteins. Proteins are plant-based, especially, you know, but even animal proteins help us to keep full and reduces the need to snack. We don't want you snacking all the time, because if you snack a lot, it means that insulin is always in the system, you know, because whenever you eat, insulin comes out to store food. And we don't want it coming out to store food, because we want to actually burn food, not store. Okay, so refined carbohydrates and sugars lead to insulin resistance, diabetes, and obesity. So I hope these are the key learnings you're taking from today's teaching. So I'll be stopping here in case there are questions. I just want to signpost us to the Obesity Series, which is a 12-part talk I have done on YouTube about losing weight, about diabetes, and so on. It's great. People are getting great information from that. So if you go and type in MEP, Fit Person, that's my channel on YouTube. The Obesity Series is free. Just watch, you know, and share to other people. It will really help them. I've come together with some people to put up a weight loss academy called Fab Weight Loss Academy. So if you need some hand helping to lose weight, or you feel all this is really too much, you don't want to do it alone, please send me an email to fabweightlossacademy@gmail.com, and we can bring you onto the academy to help you. Okay?
Gino, stop it.
So I hope that's been helpful, and I will go back to Dayibara. Let me hand back to you. Let me stop sharing, so we can look at any questions that may have come in. We have about 6 minutes to the end of the meeting. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Doc. Thank you so much. I hope we've got a lot from there, because there was quite a lot of information from that session. Yes, there are a few questions here. You've already answered Bianca's question, so we'll go back to Temitope's question. Please, let's keep sending our questions in. So it says, can we just eat eggs and sausages for breakfast with metformin? Because at times when I don't eat enough, I find the metformin affecting me.
Okay, good question. Okay, so metformin is a tablet, in fact, it's the commonest tablet given to people who have diabetes, okay? So what it's trying to do is to reduce your blood sugars. So obviously, if you're already helping it by eating less sugar, then it means the metformin needs to be reduced. Okay, that's why I'm saying you need to work with your doctor. If you're having eggs and sausages for breakfast, then you're not having a lot of sugar. So there's not a lot of work for the metformin to do. So your doctor might say, instead of taking 1 gram, most people are on 1 gram, take half a tablet, something like that. Okay. So I hope that answers you. Yeah, so it might be affecting you because you're not needing that much if you're eating less sugars.
Thank you so much. And our next question says, is basmati rice better or should one just stick to brown rice?
Right, good question. So basmati rice is refined. I mean, you can see how white it is, you know. It's so it gives you a lot of sugar. It raises your blood sugar really high. Okay, so I would say if you're going to, if you like basmati rice and you want to stick to it, then reduce the amounts, okay, and add more vegetables to your food. So if you're eating your basmati rice, you must have a salad, lots of leafy vegetables, so that can moderate the effect of the sugar from the basmati rice, okay? And I encourage people to switch to brown rice if they can, but I know it's not easy for everyone. Not everybody likes brown rice, especially if you've grown up eating white rice. It's so difficult to switch. But basmati rice and other white rice will raise your blood sugar, like Dayibara has explained to us. And that's why you need to measure, keep an eye on your blood sugar. And with time, you will begin to see you'll be able to say, oh, okay, when I ate this, my blood sugar went up. Oh, but when I ate this one, it didn't. So because we want to empower you, we want you to be able to do it. You understand? So you can check the food you're eating and see the impact it's making and adjust accordingly.
Thanks so much, Doc. That's part of why I did as well. You know, I mentioned I was going to say some more things. I just wanted time for Doc to speak and all that, but that's part of why I did. I eat, I check, I eat, I monitor, I know, well, if I'm eating this, do I need the tablets? If I'm eating this one, do I? So it's just checking and eating, test running things, and then after some time, you will know which foods are actually good for your system and which ones you should run away from. Like I said last week, run. They're the ones I ran away completely from. They're the ones I said, okay, I could still accommodate these ones. So when you can check, that would give you the wisdom on what to do. And also speak with your doctors, like Doctor said. Thanks so much, Doc. Our next question is from Uju, and she says, please, between beef, chicken, beef snout, fish, which is better for healthy eating? Because I've often heard red meat is not okay for diabetes.
Okay, another good question there. We encourage you to eat proteins. Proteins are great, you know, for the body, and they don't raise insulin or blood sugar much, okay? Now, where the problem with red meat comes into play is that, unfortunately, a lot of the meat being sold now are from cows that have been fed on natural feeds, okay? I mentioned that cows should eat grass. That's their natural food. But in a lot of these industries and farms, the cows are being fed corn, they're being fed all sorts of rubbish, you know. So obviously the quality of meat is not the same. So whereas it would have been okay to eat red meat, the quality is just not right now. So we often say reduce your meat, okay? So if you had the opportunity, maybe you're affiliated to a local farmer who you know his cows are out on the grass grazing, doing what cows should do, then it's okay to have the meat, okay? So beef, chicken, beef snout, and all the things you listed, they are proteins and they're fine. Eat them with salad. You feel quite full.
Thank you very much. The next question is from Osareme. I want to ask, are the fruits and vegetables we eat in their natural form? Because you mentioned that cows eat grass. So it's asking, are the fruits and vegetables we eat in their natural form? Because you mentioned that cows eat grass.
I'm not sure I understand fully, but
fruits and vegetables we eat, are they in their natural form?
Well, I assume they should be in their natural. You mean like eating some mangoes or apples, you know, we buy in the shop? An apple looks like an apple. So that's natural form. The unnatural form of it would be you drinking apple juice, you know, because those are often processed, highly processed. Juices are often highly processed. So that's the unnatural form. I'm quite happy for people to eat fruits in their natural form. I wouldn't say eat a massive bowl of fruits, because even though the sugars in the fruit are natural, they will still raise your blood sugar, you see. So we wouldn't want you eating excessive amounts of, I see people, they have a bowl of fruits, you know, they have their mangoes, their apples, their pineapples, and they think they're eating healthy, but that's not a healthy meal. You can't have a bowl of fruits, you know, only. That's not healthy, because that's a lot of sugar, okay? So you can eat your fruits, but in moderation. I would rather you eat more vegetables. Vegetables are great in moderating the effect of blood sugar on the system.
Right. Okay. So thanks so much, Doc, for that. We also have another question. Is there anything to worry about when you have headaches during fasting?
Right. Okay. So headaches from fasting is a common complaint. Okay. And it can sometimes be due to not drinking enough. We encourage you to keep hydrated when you're fasting. So that's one reason. The other reason is reduce salt. You know, a lot of us already eat a lot of salt in our food. So your body level of salt is high. So now suddenly you're fasting. So you're not taking in any salt. So there's a drop in the salt level, and that can often give a bit of headache. So a bit of headache, not unusual when you're fasting. Try and drink more water. You can put a pinch of salt into your water, that sort of thing, or drink bone broth. Bone broth is great because it has some salt in it, okay? But if you're having a blinding headache, I don't expect the sort of headache during the fast to make you unwell. So if you're having a headache that is so terrible, you don't feel well, obviously that's not right. And that's the great thing about fasting. You just go and eat. You know, it's so flexible. If you don't feel right, go and eat. Try again another day. You know, it's great because it's flexible. Okay, so I hope that answers you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Doc, for that. And before I forget, I'm going to be pasting the survey link on the group just to give us some feedback, please. We'd love to help you better. So please, if you could just follow the link and give us your views, your opinion on today's session while we continue answering the other questions, please. Right, the next question here from Temitope, no, from Ibitola said, Ibitola says, can we eat yam? And there's another question about disconnecting. So the other question is saying, if bread and rice are high in carbohydrates, is yam better?
Right,
so,
okay. Thanks for that. Yeah. Can before I answer that, can I say, please give us feedback, okay? The feedback helps us to be able to do things like this. This was funded by the council. We need to be able to show that it's making an impact. I see a lot of you saying, thank you, very useful. But the council isn't going to know that. They can only know it was useful from your feedback. So I plead with you, feel the feedback, because that enables us to do sessions like this that are helping so many people. Okay, so feel the feedback. It's really useful to us. So yam is a tuber, you know, it has carbohydrates, but it also has fiber, okay? So yam could be all right if you're eating it as yam. Maybe like we do back home, you could boil the yam and have it with some sauce, with stew. If you're having it that way, it's also good to have some vegetables. You can steam your spinach or ugu or whatever other vegetables you have with you and combine it, because the vegetables will reduce the carbohydrate effect in yam, okay? So where yam isn't so good is if you're eating the refined form of the yam. There are yams that have been refined, so the fiber in the yam is completely removed. That you see the yam is so smooth, in that form is simply sugar, okay? So those are the ones that may not be great, but just bear in mind that yam has carbohydrates. So if you're eating it, I would encourage you to keep an eye on your sugars. See what it's doing to your sugars, because you may need to reduce the yam or stop it for a while to get on top of things, okay?
Fine. Thank you very much. And is frozen spinach okay? This from the same person, Ibitola is asking, can I add non-sugar juice to my water? I find it difficult to drink water, and also asking, is frozen spinach okay?
Yeah, frozen spinach is fine. They often freeze these things, you know, once they harvest it. So if I would rather you have that than no spinach. So I think it's fine, but I wouldn't want you to store it endlessly, because the more you store these frozen things, the less the vitamins over time they lose their healthiness, so to speak, you know. So yeah, it's fine to use the frozen spinach. What was the second bit of the question? Sorry, I didn't get the second bit.
Can I add non-sugar juice to my water? I find it difficult to drink water.
So like diluting juice, for example.
Non-sugar juice. Diluting juice has not got sugar. It's got sugars.
I'm trying to understand what sort of sugar.
Non-sugar juice. Have you got an example, please? Could you type an example, please? What kind of juice are we talking about there so we could get it clear? Okay, while we're waiting for that response to come in, Clara is asking, is there a special way of cooking basmati rice to reduce carbs?
No. I'm not aware, but basmati rice is basmati rice. It's a refined rice. Yeah. So it's, if you cook it, then you do need to eat it with something else to help it.
Follow up the carbs. Okay, that's fine. Is it okay to eat 4 bananas a day? Jane is asking. 4 bananas.
Okay, I'll leave Dayibara to answer that.
Please, I beg you, don't even try it.
Not as a diabetic at all.
No. 4 bananas a day is not ideal at all. Like I said, half is what I put in my smoothie. You know, please, 4 bananas is a no-go. Except even if you're not going to eat any carbs that day, it may still be risky. However, you could check yourself. I would say maybe 1, and maybe not every day, because there was a discovery that there's in between a chocolate bar and banana. They are all sugar. As in, the sweetness in banana is a lot. So please, it depends on where your sugar levels are at the moment. But 4 bananas a day, I will not advise it. If you must eat bananas, please just take 1, and maybe not every day. There are some other yummy fruits out there. The grapes are there. You also minimal, yes, but bananas 4 a day, I beg you, Jane, please don't even think about it. And if anyone asks you, tell them one small girl called Dayibara said, 4 bananas a day is not helpful. I've been there. Please, nobody should go down that route. Thank you so much. Maybe for non-diabetics, they might be great with it, but if you have any sugar concerns, please don't go down that route. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, she said apple juice, no added sugar. That's what she was meaning for the juice. So can she add apple juice, no added sugar to water?
So apple juice, if you squeeze, is apple juice like what from the shop? Is that what you mean?
Yes, no added sugar apple juice.
If it's no added sugar,
right? No added sugar, but we're not there when they manufacture it. That's another. So
yeah, I mean, if they say no added sugar, I guess it's okay. I don't know how they'll do that, but yeah, you know, juices, just be mindful. You know, it's always better to eat the actual fruits than juice, going down the route of juice. Yeah, but added sugar, no added sugar is better than added sugar. So yeah.
Okay, thanks so much. Right, thanks so much, Doc. We've really been, you know, impacted by today's session. People, wonderful, blessed people. I hope we'll be filling the survey. I'm sending the link again. I'll give us a few more minutes to fill the survey. But please, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks, Doc, for teaching us a lot. We've learned a lot, and I believe others have learned a lot more, you know, and I believe others have learned as well. So we've come to the end of today's session, but we're here again next week, please. We're here again next week. So please, let's come on board. 2 p.m., same Zoom ID and password, 2 p.m. Saturday next week.
I was wondering, Dayibara, could people put on their camera briefly? Let's take a picture, please.
Yeah, please, those that are okay for cameras, can we get our smiley faces on, please?
Let's see who is there. Put on your camera. Whoa, hi, Bianca, nice to see you.
Nice.
Please put on your cameras. I see Clara. Thank you, Clara.
The faces just.
And Edna,
thanks,
wow.
Clara.
Nice to put a face to the name. And Ibitola.
That's it. That's the whole idea. Thanks so much. Doc, please, are you able to take it from your end?
Please, I won't be able to show my face.
The picture from your end, please.
I can stop recording, Dayibara, I guess.
Please bear with me. I won't be able to show my face.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Just a minute. I'm gonna.
I see Heather. Hello, Heather. Who else is putting on their picture? Putting on their camera?
Thank you so much, Dr. Ada. Please, I can't show my face. I'm in the kitchen.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay,
Just
Dayibara.
a minute. I'll try stopping the recording. Where are we? Right.
I'm assuming those with their camera on don't mind us, showing these pictures to the council or using them. I hope that's okay.
If asked, that's just the reason why.
Or if we write a book and we can put you on the face on the cover, if you don't mind. Okay, thank you.
We're looking forward to hearing success stories as well from you all, because it's going to encourage somebody else. Like I said in the beginning, for those that were here, if we take on board what we're hearing, within the next 3 months, you have a story to tell, a good story to tell.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So thanks so much once again. I will look forward to seeing you next week, Saturday. Thanks, Doc, for staying on. And
thank you.
Thanks for all those that have sent in their surveys. We're looking out for more surveys.